For those of you who are just joining, we are just allowing time for all of our people that registered to join. We understand about technical issues, so we just want to allow time for those to be sorted out. We'll be starting at around the 4 after mark. Okay, we will be getting started now. So welcome everybody to Mastering Flex Reports, which is our new module within Escapia. We are very happy to have you all attend and get a better understanding of the reports module and what sort of capabilities and customization it can offer you. If you do have any questions, please submit any questions during the session using the chat icon at the bottom of your Zoom window. I'm going to actually amend this here, and we ask that you ask questions via the Q&A button that you might be seeing. We do have Opresha in the chat here as well. She'll be monitoring those questions for me, and we'll be answering them as well. Now, if it happens to be a question that we feel like everybody would really benefit from hearing about and hearing the answer, we'll be sharing that during this training as well in between sections. Now, if you have a question that is more specific to your account only, we will be creating a case for you with the Escapia team and in order to get that resolved for you. Now, let's get started here. So first of all, we have our agenda. So here are our main topics we are going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about what exactly is the Flex Reporting module, navigating Flex Reporting dashboards, going over performance insights, as well as the Flex Reservations report. We're also going to include a couple examples of ways that we have seen people use the reports module. We're going to talk about some system requirements, and then we're also going to go over just a couple troubleshooting tips. So what is Flex Reporting? Flex Reporting is a powerful user-friendly tool. And really what it's going to do is going to simplify data for you. And that data is also easily customizable, which is really the big benefit to this. Flex Reporting can help you monitor reservations, track performance, and also identify trends all tailored to your business needs. And by that we mean it's customizable so you can see the data that you specifically want and not have to do as much exporting and sorting and filtering. Some key features of this module is going to be really that advanced customization. That's really the big thing. You are able to focus on metrics that are important to your business. It has intuitive sorting and filtering. It also does include standard reporting features, including downloading for sharing and printing. Now, where to find the Flex reporting in Escapia? So in Escapia, you may have noticed almost 2 months ago now that a new tab called Reports appeared for you with that nice new icon on it. In order to navigate to the Flex reporting, you're simply going to click that option. There is no drop down or anything like that. It'll take you right to the module. You'll notice that it'll always default to Performance Insights, which is what you're seeing here in the example. But there is another option of information that you can get here, and we'll go over that. Now let's talk about navigating the Flex reporting dashboards, because the dashboards is what you're going to see anytime you want to navigate to Performance Insights or from Performance Insights to the reservations of Flex reports. So it's really important that you kind of get at least a good idea of how to navigate here. So the dashboard is specifically used for selecting and creating new dashboards because we do offer that. You can also delete already existing dashboards. I will give a little bit of a tidbit here, which is we automatically built two different reports here for you. So you can see it in the example here on the right side. There's the Flex reservation report, and then there's Performance Insights. Those two, because they are the defaults, those cannot be deleted. Only any new created ones are able to be deleted. This is also where you can create folders if you need to keep yourself nice and organized. Now, we'll talk about this a lot, but I do want to start giving you guys an idea of what the two default reports are for specifically. So first we have the Flex reservation report. And the Flex reservation report will show reservation data based on over 30 plus existing reports in Escapia, which is very, very exciting. Now, I know that sounds a little bit daunting since there is so much information in Escapia that maybe you're wondering if you're going to have to see all the information at once. The answer is no. What the report does is that there's a default of what is shown, but we have really good customization. So you can filter to only see specific information. And also you can even do what we call editing your columns to view only the information that you want. So we have both options available for you. Then we have the Performance Insights, which is just going to be that. It's going to be really a focus on your business's overall performance. You can also filter this information as well if you want to get really into that nitty gritty and see how let's say a set of your units is doing. You can do that using that customization that will really get in depth in these slides here. The first thing we're going to go over here is just navigating the main part of the dashboard, which as you can see here, you can navigate to the dashboard by just clicking on that top right side or left side, sorry, where it says My Dashboards. In here, you'll have those two defaults that I mentioned before, the Flex Reservation Report and Performance Insights. If you hover over the name, you'll see those three vertical dots. Those are going to give you extra options to rename it if you would like, duplicate it, or you can also download it and you can have PDF or image options. And can also restore the dashboard here. The reason why we like to mention restoring the dashboard specifically is going to be because once you start using this, you are going to try to customize it. And let's say you customized it and you just want to go back to the way it's supposed to be. It's really easy to just click Restore Dashboard and it's going to restore it to the defaults that we have set for you. Up at the top of the dashboards, let's say you've made quite a few customized ones and you just want to search because you have so many, you can just type in key letters in here in order to search for it. And in this example, we had two Performance Insights and we were able to search for it. You also have the option to select your dashboards. This is how you can easily delete any of them. So let's say you've made, 20 plus and you would like to just clean this up a little bit. You're easily able to select them, and then up towards the bottom there, you're going to be able to click delete. We also have a plus sign here. The plus sign is going to be what is going to allow you to create a new folder. So here's an example of that. You can see we're creating a new filter or folder specifically for performance. Clicking the little green check mark here in order to save that name. Now, in order to move reports into that folder, it's simply a drag and drop. You can see here now that second performance insights is in there. And you'll notice at the end of this demonstration, we click the My Dashboard again, and that shrunk the My Dashboard on the left side. One thing I do like to just mention quite a bit here is going to be that if you are clicking on My Dashboards, or if you clicked on filters or edit columns, that those will open on the sides of your screen. In order to shrink them, you just simply re-click on the option you selected. So if I had in here, I had opened up the dashboard. In order to have that shrink again, I had to click on My Dashboard in order for that to go away. Next, we're going to go over filters, which is personally probably my favorite part of the reports module is the filtering options. Filtering is going to be right in the middle of that left section there. So you click it and you will see it open over on the right side here. In here, you will notice we're going to scroll through them a little bit, but there are a ton of options. And as you kind of hover over them, you'll see there's a pencil that is appearing. We will talk about the pencil in a little bit here. But as you can see, there's a lot of options. And this isn't even just the limit. There are a ton more that we're going to talk about in a little bit, where I'll show you where to find those. But we have a couple of the key ones we know people like to use. Now, speaking of that pencil, so for this example specifically, we are using the filtering option booking year to show you. Now, just know that the pop-up that appears when you click the pencil is a little bit different based on which filter you are choosing. So by clicking the pencil on booking year, I am able to just do that. I'm able to see even more filters for the booking year. I'm able to see the specific options. I can select them, deselect them. You can also filter, which is like something I really like to do, which is going to be like is not in a specific time frame or is in a specific time frame. Quite a few options in here. Or you can put a specific date range from X date to X date. That's another one that we have been using a lot. So the is not is quite nice so that you can, let's say you want to see everything last year, but you don't want to see anything in Q1, you can filter that if you would like. So in here, you can see I am just deselecting 2023 because I don't want to see that data, and then just clicking apply. And then it updates. Then we have the refresh icon on the top of the filters. That's just going to restore to your default filters like we talked about before. But the thing is, you can also set your own filter, like default filters in here. And I'm going to show you that after this step here. Next is going to be the plus sign. When clicking the plus sign, you get this lovely window, which is those expanded filtering options that I talked about before. So when you click on filters, you have kind of like the basics, but we see a lot of people use a ton. But in here, really, there is a ton of options. So for example, I wanted to see different renter types. So I chose that option. And then here is an example of trying to filter by unit code. And let's say I didn't really know where it was in the window and I don't want to scroll. You can actually search in here as well for keywords. So in this example, I typed in unit code, or just unit, I should say, and then I am able to select it and use it as needed. Next, we have those three vertical dots. This is where you can set your default filter. So let's say that you find yourself only viewing 2025 data right now. You can click that to have it always default to only show that. Or specific reservation types. Really, the world is your oyster with this, which is really what has me excited about it. Just the amount of customization that is here, because you can really tailor it to your specific needs. Next, we have your columns. So I always like to just mention that filtering is going to be what data is actually pulled from the system. Columns is what you are choosing that you would like to view. So in edit columns, this is yet another way to customize this even further. And all you have to do is just click edit columns. It's the last option in that top left set. In here, as you can see, we have a ton of different options here. A couple that I just kind of highlighted with the demonstration is going to be things like your year, the offices. So if you're someone who has multiple offices, which we know quite a few of you guys do, you can filter specifically by that. You can filter by location as well, or edit your columns to show location as well. You can also do reservation types, whether or not you would like to view those. As you can see, there are quite a few options here. What I will mention is that the columns actually are intuitive as well. So what does that mean? In the columns, there is only a specific set here that you can see that can or cannot be displayed. But let's say you chose a filter that does not have a column option about whether or not you would like to see it, whether or not you want that displayed in the information. What's really nice is that based on the filters that you choose, your columns will also update with that to allow you to have that option, whether or not you would like to choose that in your columns. So a really good example that you will see a little bit later in the presentation is going to be in the filters. We do have an option regarding rental agreements specifically, and filtering whether a rental agreement is signed, unsigned, or not sent. Normally, that is not an option in the column, but once that filter is chosen, it will appear here in the column as something that you can choose either appears or does not appear within the displayed data. Our next section is going to be about performance insights, but before we move on, I do want to just check in here and see if we've had any questions. And it doesn't look like we have, so we will move right along. So we're going to focus here on the performance insights first, which, like I mentioned before, is going to be the default when you first click on reports in Escapia. We want you to see how your business is doing. So it's the first thing you're going to see. Now here up at the top, you're going to have a really quick view about how your revenue, bookings, nights sold, occupancy, etc. is doing. And that's just for a quick view if you just want to see the numbers themselves. And then right toward the top in the middle, you will notice we actually have specific display options. So you can choose what you want to be viewed in the chart itself. So we're going to go over these display options. I'm going to throw some definitions as well. I will go a little bit slower just in case any of you are writing this down as well. But I will mention here that after the training, as soon as the recording is available to us, anybody who attended will be getting a copy of the recording of this training, as well as a attachment that includes the specific presentation. So you will have these to go back to. So don't worry if you didn't write fast enough or anything like that. You will also get this information sent to you. So first we have revenue. And revenue is the gross rental revenue. It's not going to include any revenue associated with fees or add-ons. So any of those extra booking charges, such as pet fees or cleaning fees, is not going to be included in this number. So as you click the display options, you will notice the chart at the bottom also updates. Next, we're showing you booking, which is just going to be that, just the number of guest bookings and how you're doing. Then we have nights sold, which nights sold is the number of nights reserved for guest bookings. Just putting it out there that this does not include owners or guest of owners. Now we have occupancy, which this is the one that I like to give a little bit of extra time in case you're writing this down. Occupancy is going to be the percentage of nights reserved by guests divided by the total available nights. The available nights are the number of open nights available for bookings across all your inventory. So we do have an example here, which is if you have 10 units, each with 100 open nights throughout the year, then you'd have 1,000 available nights. So this is calculated specifically using the formula we have down here, which is occupancy equals nights reserved divided by nights available times 100 in this specific example. Then we have ADR, which ADR is going to be your average daily rate. ADR represents the average price customers are paying. And all of you can use this number along with occupancy to really maximize your profitability because we want to see you all succeed. So this is a really good metric to take a look at. ADR is calculated by dividing the rent by the number of nights sold or booked. As with all calculations on the performance insights, this does not include owner or guest of owner stays or any sort of maintenance holds. So we'll automatically filter all that information out. Next we have RevPAR, which RevPAR is going to be revenue per available rental. This is calculated by dividing the rent by the number of available nights. Available nights are defined as the number of nights in each month multiplied by the number of units. Now this metric, we are very well aware, is usually a hotel-oriented metric, but it can still be used for the vacation rental industry because it does provide very useful information about your performance that is inclusive of both occupancy and your ADR. RevPAR represents the ability to convert units into revenue, and we want to see you all have an increase in your RevPAR, which means your average daily rate and or occupancy rate is increasing. That's what we would like to see, or well, what we want you to see really, which is why this metric is so nice to have quickly available. So those are your display options. Next, under the performance insights, we have the performance chart. So the performance chart is quite easy to use. You will notice that if you hover over any of the numbers in the performance chart, it'll give you just the data there really easy and quick. Now, at the bottom of the performance chart, you'll notice that you have years there. If you hover over any of the years, you'll notice it'll update the lines that are available to show specifically only that year. Next, we have just a demonstration of how you can use the filters. Now, like I said before, this is really going to be up to your business need on what you would like to display, but we figured we would show you a couple examples here. So in this example, under the filters, I wanted to click that pencil next to unit code. And then I chose specific units because it does list them. You can also search for them. And I selected 3 units, clicked applied. And you'll see the data has now updated to reflect only specifically those 3 units. You also notice that the filter on the right side did update. So under unit code, it now has like a list of the rest of the units under this account. That is so that you can check and uncheck as needed. So it's very intuitive as well. So here I am restoring the defaults of the filters to go back to the original data, clicking filters to shrink that pop-up on the right side. Now let's say I would like to share this information. Let's say I'm having a meeting and we want to talk about how did we do in 2024 and how are we doing in 2025 so far. This is very easily downloadable by clicking on the 3 vertical dots right above the performance chart, clicking on download. And then here you have the option of image, which is going to give you just that. It's going to give you the chart, and then also a CSV file, which is going to give you the chart in a CSV. Now, also on the performance insights, we have the breakdown table. The breakdown table specifically is going to be located underneath the chart. So you just have to scroll down a little bit. And you'll notice here, it's just going to give you a breakdown based on what's currently in the chart. So currently we're displaying revenue, and it kind of breaks it up by month, the number correlates with the month. And then we also have it broken down by office in this performance insights chart automatically. Now, let's say you would like to view a little bit more data. You can do that by clicking edit columns. Let it load for a second. And you can choose if you would like to view even more information. So in this example, what we specifically did was we wanted to show you what would happen if you turned on reservation type. You'll see here, it gives you a breakdown by reservation type. And then we also turned on booking channels because we know that is something a lot of people like to view. If you want to know, where are my reservations coming from? Where is that revenue coming from overall? You can view that very easily by editing the columns and selecting booking channel. I'm now clicking edit columns again in order to shrink that section. And it'll take me back to the breakdown table at the bottom. And you'll see here, it is giving me quite a bit of information for both 2024 and 2025 about where the reservations are coming from, what my amounts are, things like that. Now, this is a demonstration account, so of course our amounts are not as nice as yours might be, but this is a really easy way for you to be able to share that information, to view it and share it. And you can share it by clicking those 3 vertical dots above the table, clicking download, and you have the options of as an image, CSV file, PDF file, or an Excel file. One way that I know some people have chosen to use this is if an owner is specifically requesting, hey, I want to know where my reservation's coming from. They'll do a filter by that specific unit, edit the columns to include the booking channel, and then they will very easily be able to download in order to share that information. And that is your performance insights. Let's see, did we have any questions here? It doesn't look like anyone asked anything. And of course, if you do have any questions, we'll talk about how to contact the support team about it in a little bit. Next, we have the Flex Reservations Report, another favorite part of this of mine, personally. So first, let's talk about how to get to the Flex Reservations Report. And you can do that by clicking on the My Dashboards on the top left that we talked about previously. And once you click on that, you simply are going to click on the option called Flex Reservation Report. And then you'll notice it'll load. And this is what you're going to see. Now, it looks very standard, right? It kind of looks similar to like a booking summary report or something to that effect. It's a little bit cleaner, which is also nice. But like I said, there is a ton of customization here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to customize this using the filters or the columns, I'm sorry. So here, let's say I want to not view the creation date. I'm just going to select creation date and you'll see it just goes away, which is really nice since I know a lot of you will download reports and export them to Excel, and then you'll use that nice sort and filter tab, and then or you'll just delete a column completely. So this is really meant to help make that a little bit easier. I will also mention something that we found out quite recently, which is within the next couple months, we're going to have a little bit of an update to this. And one of the updates that is included is going to be for you to sort your columns by simply dragging and dropping so that you can also have it in the order that best fits you and your needs. So it's not live yet, but it's coming. So I'm very excited about that. So I wanted to mention it. Then we have just a little bit of an example of using the filters. Again, clicking on filters, it popping up on the right side there. And this is just going to choose specific information that you want pulled into the report itself. So in here, I wanted to see a very specific payment status. I want to see all the reservations that are currently marked as not paid. Click that option, clicked applied, and you'll see here it simply pulled those couple reservations. These happen to also be canceled reservations, but it's for the example. Now clicking filters again, I want to go back to see all my data. You can simply click the refresh button to restore to your defaults. Now, let's say that you would like to share this information. That is very easy. Just click those three vertical dots, click download, and then you can choose the option that best fits who you're trying to share it with. Now, like I said, you can filter by quite a few options. So the default is going to be any reservations that are checking in really soon. But of course, you can use those filters to do specific booking dates, specific creation dates, specific renter types. Really, there is 101 at least different options there. So take advantage of it. Like I said, this report does pull from 30 different other reports as well. So really, it can replace a lot of those reports a lot of you are pulling really regularly. And because you have those customizable options as well and can save certain ones, you also have that option. That way you don't have to pull the same reports over and over. Now, this is something, the Flex Reservation Report, quick inspection via what is called Drill Into. This is a brand new thing for Escapia. It is not available anywhere else currently, but it is something that I know I personally found extremely nice and fun to use. So the drill into what that is going to do, it's going to allow you to right click on any of these reservations. And then you will have an option called drill into. Now, I do want to explain the reason why mine does not say drill into. Mine says choose another. This is because I've actually used drill into before on this account. So because of that, you'll notice I have a couple extra options that are things I have used previously. So I only have the option choose another. So your first time using drill into, you'll have an option called drill into. Once you've used it once, though, it's going to be an option called choose another. So what that'll do is it'll bring up this lovely window, and it's very similar to the filtering one where you have a ton of options, but this has a little bit more, which I personally really enjoy. So as you can see, you have by notes, you have check-in and check-out times, you have by the amount of children, lots of fun stuff like that. The one that I chose for this specific example is going to be filtering by, or I should say, drill into by the rental agreement status. So I'm going to choose rental agreement. And you'll notice that it is showing here all my reservations that have no rental agreement. So that means it was never sent. Now, if you're wondering, well, why did it choose specifically no rental agreement? It is because the reservation that I right-clicked on had no rental agreement. If I had chosen a reservation that had, let's say, a signed rental agreement, then did the drill into and selected rental agreement, it would have shown only signed ones. So if in this case, let's say Angelique Paris, we know she did not have a rental agreement, and we want to see all the other ones that do not have a rental agreement sent to them. I could simply just right click there, use a drill into rental agreement, and then it'll show me all like-minded reservations. Like I said, there's a lot of options in here that are not even in the filters because it pulls a little bit of extra data in there. Now, if I want to exit out of the drill into and go back to viewing my full report, you're simply just going to click that circled X on the top left side of the report, and it'll go back to how it was previously. And that is it for the Flex reservations report. No questions here, so we're just going to get into the examples. Okay, so the first example I have here is similar to what we talked about in drill into, but I wanted to show an example of the drill into being used for rental agreements that were already sent. So like I said, there's a couple options. There's sent, there's unsigned, there's sent, signed, and then no rental agreement, which means it was never sent. And just to make this a little bit easier, if this is a report that you think you can use for yourself, I put the columns and filters at the bottom that were used in order to pull this information. So in here, for example, for the column, I selected to show rental agreement. And then for my filters, I searched for rental agreement, and then I chose specifically sent as a status. So you don't have to use drill into, by the way. You can also use the filters, but I like the drill into just because it chooses like-minded reservations. Our next one is going to be for pets. Let's say you want to know which reservations are choosing to bring a pet. What I did was I wanted to show different examples. So you can use filters for this, but for this, we specifically use drill into, and we set it to show pet and updated it to descending order. If you're wondering how to update to descending order, you will notice here in the pet type column, there is a little sort button. You can click that and it will give you ascending and descending order in here. So there's that report, which I know in general, there's just not a really great report to see how many pets are coming in Escapia. So this is why this was one example we really wanted to highlight on how to use this. Next, we have an example of a key code. What we did was we did a drill into and we set it to show reservations with key codes. Again, you can use the filters, you can use columns for displaying, but we wanted to show a couple different ones. So here you can see that now there's a column for key codes. Now all of these are the same because this is a demonstration account, but it'll pull all of those. I know a question we have gotten as well with the drill into is whether or not you can restore to just have it not show any history. That is not available. It's just going to show you any of your recent drill intos, just so you're aware. Next, we have previous guests. So this one is one that I wanted to show because we have gotten the question quite a few times, which is going to be, I would like to pull some sort of report that shows the email of a guest, and I specifically want guests that stayed in a certain time frame. A lot of people like to use this in order to reach out to those guests after they've checked out, in order to offer them, let's say, a coupon code so that, like, for them to book, to entice them to stay again with you, or maybe just to reach out and remind them, hey, you had such an amazing time here last summer. Why don't you come back? So book your stay today. So a lot of people have asked us for that question, and this is a really great report to use that to use for this, since it is, first of all, really clean. You can, you know, edit the columns even further, more than I did here, and have it just show an email address. But we want to show a little bit of data at least. So specifically what we did was, for the filters, we set it to show only renters because we did not want to see any owners or guest of owners. And then we set a filter for when their stay dates were, and we chose a date range of June 1st all the way through August 31st. And then in our columns, we updated it to only show some basic information. Like I said, you can filter or edit those columns even further to show even less information. And then just because we wanted to, we also did a drill into to make it display the email. You can also do this in the columns, but we wanted to just show a couple different examples, like I said before. So this would be a really easy way to pull that information that you might need. Next, we have a couple examples on how to use the performance insights. So this one was specifically, let's say you want to see nights sold historically for units during the summer of 2024. So we did display options as nights sold, as you can see at the top there. And for filters, we only had a 2024 year selected and a specific unit chosen. So this is just an example because we know sometimes owners will request specific information regarding how did their unit do in a specific time frame. So this would be a really easy way to pull that information, download it, share it. So let's say you don't want to share a chart with an owner, and instead you want to just give him or you want to see the data for all your units. Just a reminder, you do have that table at the bottom. And so here I had unselected just the specific units because I wanted to show a large amount of data. So here you can see nights sold historically for all units for this account during the summer of 2024. So you can see here, it's only showing June, July, and August, and then it has a breakdown of the nights sold. And then our very last example here is going to be, again, focusing on performance insights and that table specifically. And it's just going to be that revenue breakdown by source that we talked about before. I want to show specifically the options that we use to pull this information. So we have display option was revenue. Filters, we chose only to show the 2024 year because we wanted to see how did we do last year. And then for the columns, we chose to show the source category, subcategory, and the booking channel. We wanted to see all three options here. So as you can see, this is quite nice to be able to view, where's the revenue really coming from? So in this example, you can see here, looks like a lot of the revenue is coming specifically from the source subcategory HomeAway. And that's just a really easy way to see where your reservation's coming from, where is there room for improvement, and where are we listing that maybe we need to focus on a little bit more. Why are we maybe not getting as many bookings from this source, but this source is working really, really well. It's really just great data to be able to easily compare. Before we move on, I just want to check, did we have any questions? It doesn't look like anybody typed any. Um, so let's talk about some system requirements. System requirements. So we have some browser recommendations. Currently, only Google Chrome is supported, and it has to be the latest version of Google Chrome that can be used. You also do need to make sure your third-party cookies are enabled on Google Chrome, which it should be by default. But if you happen to have chosen turn them off, you will have to turn those back on. If you need help with that, Google Chrome has actually a really, really great video on that if you just search it up. You can use the reports module on both PC and Mac operating systems, but like I said, it's only going to be on Google Chrome. Safari, it's a lot of data, so Safari has a little bit of trouble if you try to pull it on there. Mobile browsers are currently not supported. It technically does open, but I personally do not recommend this purely because it does not display the information really intuitively. It's a lot easier to just view it on your desktop. Regarding who can have access to the two different parts right now, so for the Flex reservation report specifically, your roles are going to be really those manager roles, such as reservations, accounting, PM, property, and marketing managers. Agency admin, of course, can also access the Flex reservation report along with a reservationist. Now, for performance insights specifically, only the role of agency administrator can view this. And then here we snuck in a question we get quite a bit, which is when do these reports update? The Flex reservation report updates in real time. So that means if you created a reservation right now for tonight, open up your Flex reservation report, it's going to be there. The performance insights do update nightly. Now we're going to go over some troubleshooting tips. Let's say when you click on reports, you see this gray screen that says app.escapia.com redirected you too many times. Or if the filtering column buttons are there, but they're grayed out and cannot be clicked. This is fixed 99.9% of the time by a couple of these options here. So first of all, you're going to want to make sure your user has the supported roles to access the Flex reporting. You're going to want to remove any lower roles from the user that will prevent access. So what this means is we like to remind people about the fact that Escapia is a tiered system when it comes to the roles, which means that any individual should only have the highest roles that is necessary. So for example, if a user has the role agency administrator, the only other role they need is accounting manager. They should not have a role of reservationist, technician, marketing manager. None of those should be in there. They should only have agency administrator and accounting manager. So any of those lower roles that are unnecessary, you're going to want to get those out of there. Otherwise, you're going to want to make sure you're using the latest version of Google Chrome and confirm that your third-party cookies are enabled. Here's just a reminder on how to update roles in Escapia. You can do that in contacts, find all contacts, and then search by first and last name. We do usually advise that you do search by email in case there is a duplicate contact, which happens a lot more than you would think it does. And duplicate contacts can also create issues in the Escapia system. So like multiple contacts using the same email. So once you click to open, right underneath add another number, you can click view/change roles and then add and remove roles as necessary, save in that window. And then just a reminder, you should be saving twice, which means save in the role window and then make sure you also save in the main contact. Otherwise, any changes you made will not be fully saved. Now, let's say you try to access the performance dashboard or performance insights, and you see all of these lovely exclamation marks in the diamonds. Very similar to the last issue, which is going to be want to make sure you're using the latest version of Google Chrome, confirm your third-party cookies are enabled, and you can also clear your browsing history and try again. That's really the last point that we advise people make, just because usually it is the Chrome issue. But clearing your browsing history is also a really good option since we're constantly doing updates in Escapia, especially to our newer modules. So sometimes it's just that you're in an older version of Escapia than what is currently live. Next, this was a very specific scenario we wanted to just talk about, which was someone was working with the Flex arrival report to create a report to see unpaid reservations in the next 30 days. However, the filter of payment status is grayed out. Can this be turned on? I do have the column selected and it shows on the report. I just can't filter on it. So simply, somebody was trying to click on the specific column in order to filter. You have to click on the specific sort option there. And there is the icon. Talked about it before, but we like to call it out again. Because for example, in Excel, if you click it, it kind of auto sorts depending on your settings. So here it's a specific button, and then you choose if you want it in ascending or descending order. Now, this is another question we got, which was that let's say you're trying to sort or filter by specific unit groups. So we have an example here for you, which is, let's say first that a unit belongs to just a simple unit group. That's going to be that first example that is highlighted in green. Um, it'll show there the unit group it belongs to, but let's say it does not belong in a unit group. It'll just simply say no unit group. Now, let's say the unit belongs to multiple unit groups. It is going to list out both options or however many it is. So one concern was that it would default to just show only one unit group or none if it belonged to many. No, so it will show you whatever is accurate and truthful on what unit groups it belongs to. Now, let's say you have any questions. Of course, you can contact our lovely Escapia support team. You can create a case online using our support.escapia.com page. Otherwise, in Escapia, if you click that question mark with a circle around it on the top right, that'll take you right to the support page to search for articles. You can also create a case on here. If you are calling us, a couple things that we do ask is that you know your 4-digit account number, have your account open and ready to use, and have any relevant information available to you, such as dollar amounts, owner/guest names, reports names, etc. Now for emails, it's pretty much the same thing. We just ask that you do include emailed cases, includes your account number, also your preferred method of contact, whether that be email or phone number. You get extra brownie points if you include what time zone you're in, so we know when it is appropriate time to contact you. Also include any of that relevant information. That way we can troubleshoot it for you before we call you, and we can fix any issues or answer any questions as soon as possible. And then screenshots are also greatly appreciated. I know a lot of you guys do that, and it really does make troubleshooting anything extremely easier. So thank you so much. I don't see we have any questions. Just a reminder, as soon as the recording is available, I will be emailing it out to all of you along with a copy of the presentation. Please just be patient. The recordings that are a little bit longer do take time to fully download into the system for us to be able to share that with you. You also are going to get a survey. If you could please fill it out and let us know how you enjoyed the webinar. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.